Breaking news, the Sony PlayStation 5 is hacked. Did Sony release the hack for the PlayStation 5 all by themselves? Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Yes, you heard correctly, the PlayStation 5 finally has an actual user level hack. Now, before I get too far into the video, I know already I've probably used some terms that might be new to you guys, a user level hack, for example. I want to make this clear. The process of hacking is not simple. The work that goes into making these hacks is not easy, and there's a lot of terms that are going to be confusing for a lot of people that aren't like coders or hackers or hardware exploiters or whatever. So my goal through this video is to try and make this as easy as possible to understand, so I may oversimplify things. So if you fancy yourself a hacker or a coder or any of those things, and you take issue with any of the way that I'm explaining some of this stuff, go ahead and post in the comment down below what you think could be corrected and made more clear, keeping in mind that this video is made for the average user, not for the extreme hacker. So let's agree on that, and then we're gonna move forward. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about is what I said in the intro video, is that the PlayStation 5 has been hacked, and it may not be from the group that you thought that it was from. So to explain that better, we need to back up about 10 months to a year ago, where I released a different video. And that would be this one right here, where I explained the PlayStation 5 hacks by Fail Overflow and The Flow. So I go through in that video exactly what was known then and what that meant as far as hacking in general. It is a very good video, if I do say so myself, and I would strongly encourage you to check that video out as well as this, because there's going to be a lot of overlap from what I said then versus where we are now. But the key takeaway to know from that video is that The Flow discovered an exploit that would allow you to unlock the debug menu in your PlayStation 5. Now, some of you may not realize this, but Sony actually has a bounty that they put out for anybody who can find a workable exploit or bug in their systems. And that's not just for PlayStation 5. It covers PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PSP, PS Vita, any PlayStation products. That can be found on this website right here. It's called Hackerone, and we are in the PlayStation submenu. And what you'll notice here is that on the PlayStation, they say, PlayStation 5, if you turn in a hack or exploit that has a various level of security risk, we will pay you money. So they put out a bounty for these hacks. So if it's a low level hack, 500 bucks, a medium level hack up to 2,500, high level up to 10,000, and critical up to 50,000. This is going to be very important for the next part that we're going to talk about here. So The Flow hacked the PlayStation 5 back in November. Okay, so it's been almost a year. He turned the details of that hack over to Sony. Sony looked at the hack and they decided that it had a high level of security, and they paid The Flow $10,000. Now, what does that mean? That means that The Flow sold the hack, the method that he used. He sold it to Sony. As part of the deal that you make, you get the rights to disclose or not disclose the details of your hack to anyone else, depending on what Sony tells you. Now, in this case, Sony did not tell The Flow that he couldn't tell anybody about this. In fact, Sony actually released the details of the hack themselves. So this is where we get into my first point in this video. Sony are the ones that allowed the hack to be released. So this is not some super secret group in a basement that came up with some super secret hack and have exposed the PlayStation 5. Sony has authorized it. They have permitted this hack to come out. Now, A lot of people are going to speculate, well, why on earth would Sony do that? They might even say, Anton, you're a liar. There's no way Sony would do that. There are many reasons why Sony might do that. There are many reasons why maybe they wouldn't want to do that. But regardless of that, the Flow was paid for the hack. Sony owns the hack, and the Flow's hack was released. You decide how the hack was released, because the Flow would not release that hack if he didn't have Sony's permission to do so. Now, if you want to test this hack yourself, absolutely you can do that. There's a couple things that you need. A PS5 that is running on 4.03 firmware or 4.5 firmware. It has been upgraded to work on 4.5 as well. If you have a PlayStation 5 that you have been using as of this video, you have luckily been updated to a higher firmware that has already been patched. So you would have to have one that has been offline for at least the last 7 months or so, or longer. A lot of people have actually bought extra PlayStations and hung on to them for this purpose. I am not one of those people, so I do not actually have access to run this hack myself. So I'm going to lean on a fellow YouTuber, goes by the name of Modded Warfare. He has a ton of subscribers. You can go ahead and check him out. He certainly does not need me to recommend him or his content, but he does have a beautiful walkthrough of what this exploit looks like on the PlayStation 5, and I'm going to leverage him for this part of the video.
All you need to do is go into your network settings on your PS5, make sure you've updated to 4.03, of course, and what you want to do is head into the network settings, change your network settings, and change the DNS address to 165.227.83.145, or change the DNS address to 192.241.221.79. Once you have one of those DNS addresses added in your network settings, you can then log out and log back into your profile to clear your website data, which is weird, but that's what you have to do on the PS5, otherwise it doesn't clear properly. And then go onto the user guide, accept the security certificate, and it will take you to Aliziv's PS4 host. From there, you just hit the left trigger twice, and that will give you a URL redirector. And then the URL you want to go to is the 7-in-1 host by EchoStretch, which is the only one I've seen so far, but I'm sure there'll be other websites hosting it as well soon. So the site you want to go to is es7in1.site. Head to that website, go to the ES tab in the top left-hand corner, and you will see the 4.03 debug settings option that you can run on the PS5. And what you want to do is wait for all the text to appear. Now, it's likely going to crash at some point during the loading of the exploit, where you'll just have to reboot the PS5 and try again. However, if it works all the way to the point where it says enable debug settings, and then below that it says, you know, RPC server triggering in 10 seconds or whatever, that's the point when you should be able to exit the browser, and you should press circle to exit the browser, not the PS button, and not options and close page, because otherwise it will panic, and the debug settings should then be enabled for you and you can access them. So that's what we've got right there. That's a quick way of loading the exploit without having to go through all the hassle of setting up the hosting files yourself.
Now, this particular hack is using a loophole in the web browser, which SpecterDev has released. You can find him on Twitter. I'll show him right here at SpecterDev. Now, he has a lot of information that he's dumping out about this, but he's dumping information about the PlayStation 4 hack as well as the PlayStation 5 hack. So you might get a little bit confused about which one he's talking about because it's not always clear. So if you're following him on Twitter, don't get too excited when you see all kinds of new exciting features that he's talking about for a hack, because it might be the PlayStation 4. One other thing to note is that SpecterDev also recognizes that BigBoss is also working on a hack for the PlayStation 5. It uses a different entry method, but it uses the same kernel level exploit. Think of your house, for example. There are multiple ways to get into your house, but the goal is to get into your house. In this case, the PlayStation 5 is the house, and the entry point could be a door, could be a window, could be whatever. So in the SpecterDev method, we are using the web browser to enter that way and then deliver the payload, the package that will unlock the debug menu. In the BigBoss method, he's using the Blu-ray drive hack, which he just dumps the payload onto Blu-ray. You burn it and then you stick it in. It'll boot up that way, and then dump that payload. Either way, it does unlock the PlayStation 5. Now, this is where we get into a bit of a discussion where it kind of overlaps with a lot of what I already said in the video from almost a year ago now, and that is, what does this mean for us? First of all, for me and for probably most of you, it doesn't mean a whole lot of anything because all we've done is unlocked the debug menu. Now, a lot of you are wondering, well, what can I do with the debug menu? So in my previous video that I released a year ago, we actually glanced at what the debug menu looks like on the PlayStation 5. So here's some of the menus that would unlock in the debug menu. You have a package downloader, package installer, save data, add content manager, slow SSD mode, instant app suspending, enhanced display buffer, internal memory dump, and CPU/GPU frequency. There are more options which are down further, but again, this is where we talk about what can you or I do. Well, you'll notice there's a package downloader and a package installer. We can download packages off the PlayStation 5, that's great. We can install packages, but they have to be Sony signed packages. We can't just start dropping a package in and trying to run it. Now, if you are watching the scene right now, and there's a lot of people who are trying different things to see what they can and can't do, which is great, it's very limited and it is a very stab in the dark approach. Without the ability to actually sign our own code, there's not a lot that's gonna happen from here out until we unlock the kernel level. So you remember I said at the beginning, this is a user level exploit. User level means we are still playing in the encrypted and secure sandbox. So we can only do what Sony will let us do. So installing a package, great. Sony lets us do that anyway. Anytime you download a game to your PlayStation, that's installing that package file. Now, can we actually extract a game in the form of a package file? I haven't seen that yet, and I don't think we will, because the game is actually signed to your unique console key, which we don't have. So that game will actually be signed to your console and will only work on your console without that handoff from Sony, where they actually authorize or rubber stamp the use of that game on that console. So we're very limited in what we can do. So a lot of you are asking, okay, are we gonna get homebrew? No, we are not right now. Are we gonna get pirated games? No, again, we're not right now. You can kind of do this and poke around and see things, but there's not a lot that you're gonna do. And I think that's partially why Sony could have authorized the release of this hack, partly because they know that it's only a user level hack. They also know that they've patched it, and they know they have ways to force people to upgrade their PlayStation 5 so that they can't actually use this hack. For most of us, this won't make any difference. But there is one key upside that I can see for Sony. You see, a lot of people love the buzz around a hacked console. So you might get an increase in sales from people who say, hey, it's been hacked, I should buy that. So anyone who is on the fence, should I buy an Xbox, should I buy a PlayStation 5? They're gonna lean more to the PlayStation 5 because it's been hacked, and that promise of possible piracy or possible homebrew will be a big promise that helps sway you into that direction. Now, Sony, I believe, is very confident that this time they have actually got the hypervisor to work properly. Now, hypervisor is basically the security method that they use to make sure that anything that's being done on the system is authorized actions. If some of you are around from the PlayStation 3 era, hypervisor was completely cracked wide open because we got full access to the keys. Sony did an amazing job of actually patching through that and fixing it to make it a very difficult process, but once it's open, it's open. So the next question is, where do we go from here? Well, really, we're not any further ahead than we were before. It's upsetting, I know, because you're like, well, now we can run it. Yes, we can run it. But the people who can actually do something about this have been able to run this for a year now. So all they've done is package this up into a way where we can actually now run it, which is great. But getting that into our hands doesn't get them any further to the root keys, and it doesn't get us any further to really anything that you might want to do. Now, I know what you're thinking, because you've watched my other video, and you know that in that video, I already talked about fail overflow. Now, those of you who didn't watch that video, I'll tell you right now, fail overflow also hacked the system about the same time. when they hacked it, they actually extracted the root keys. And they even go so far as to say, we know how to extract the per console root keys. Now, those are the two keys that we need. We need the main key and we need the console key. If we have both of those, we can create software that will take that game. Like I said, you can download that game as a package. We can extract the console root key and inject our own console root key, and that would authorize the game to run on any console, so effectively opening up piracy. Now, most people are already aware that failover is not about piracy. They don't want to create tools that allow people to get piracy working on a system. So then you might ask, well, why would they even tell anybody anything anyway? Well, they want to be the first. They want to be the ones who cracked it first. They want to prove how smart they are. They want to show the world that they can do it in a way where they don't actually have to show the world how to do it. And that ties back to the Hackerone bug exploit. You see, if Failoverflow did find a viable hack to extract the root keys from the PlayStation, they would have submitted that to Sony. That's no surprise. They always submit to Sony. They always wait until Sony patches before they create any other information or tools to be able to do anything. Now, in this case, I can only guess because nobody has commented publicly about it. But if they truly extracted the root keys, Sony would have made that a critical. They would have assigned it a critical status. So they would have been paid up to $50,000. And in this case, Sony would have slapped them with an NDA where they say, we now own this process and you are not allowed to talk about it. You are not allowed to tell anyone about it. And Failoverflow is perfectly okay with that. See, all they want to do is show you that it's possible and get paid. So you get the benefit of both. You get all of the fame for being the one that hacked it. You get paid some money, and then you don't have to show anyone how to do it because Sony validated that your process was real, and then they put a muzzle on you so that you can't actually tell anyone how you did it. So I don't think that the Failoverflow method will be released anytime soon, which means the keys are still safe until someone else figures it out. Will someone figure it out? Yes, but Sony will have patched it already. So again, it has to be on an old system, which means if you have an old system, you are not playing online. So you have no access to online play. You're doing just local stuff. And if you want to do local activities, so run your homebrew, you already got an Xbox for that. We've got a Series S right here that does great at playing homebrew on your TV, and it's already unlocked and able to do that, and it's only $300. So you don't need to turn your $700 PlayStation 5 into a homebrew console when the Xbox does it just fine. So really, there's no real good reason why anyone is highly motivated to do anything with the PlayStation 5 except for the thrill of that hunt for being able to unlock something that they weren't supposed to be able to unlock. So there's people that are interested, but not as many people that are interested. And I think that's going to slow this scene down a lot. So for now, this buzz about it being hacked, that's just going to create extra sales, extra demand, and it's all win-win for Sony. And it doesn't do anything for us that's different. So what do you do now? If you have a PlayStation 5 and you think that hacking is for you, and you've already updated, and you're like, well, crap, I missed that boat. Unplug your PlayStation right now, disconnect it from the internet, turn off Wi-Fi, and put it in a box and put it on a shelf and wait. Because the hacks will be released for newer firmwares. It always happens. So I've seen it before, and if you think you missed the bus, you probably haven't, but you just gotta put it away and wait. Or go and buy a new PlayStation. Some have rumored that the Horizon PlayStation 5 bundles actually ship with 4.5 firmware on them. And so if you plug it in and then don't update it, you might be able to hack that system as soon as you pull it out of the box. That's just a rumor at this point, it's not confirmed. And again, who knows, maybe Sony started that rumor to sell more PlayStations because everyone's like, sweet, I gotta get a Horizon PS5 because I can hack that. And then you'll buy it and you realize, joke's on you, it's actually not on 4.5, you're not hacking nothing. I wanted to make this video because I know there's a lot of information out there. It's really scattered and it's hard to understand what that means in real terms because people are just so excited. They're getting so excited about what they think they'll be able to do. Right now, we still can't do anything. You know, I know this is a really long video to say hacks are out there. There's nothing we can do about it right now. Piracy is not happening yet. It might happen, but now we play that game. It could be a month, could be 5 months, 6 months, a year, 4 years, whatever. It could take forever. We still have to crack a lot of layers of security to get to where we actually have packages that we can create and install and unlock homebrew and any of that stuff. So it'll come eventually, but it's gonna be slow. So when that happens, again, I will let you guys know on this group, and you can join my YouTube channel and check this all out. For now, we just still sit and wait. And again, if you haven't watched the original video that I made, I encourage you to go and watch that. There's tons of content in there. I feel that it's really informative and it'll bring a lot of you up to speed about where we're at. And it actually gets into a lot of the history too, which I'm not covering in this video because I've already talked about it. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you've got any questions, maybe I can help answer them. Or maybe I have to make another video to try and go over some of this stuff so that you will know kind of where we're at as well. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.